Welcome to the deep dive. Our mission here, as always, is to take sources, sometimes a whole stack, sometimes just one really potent one, and pull out the key knowledge you need.
Yeah, distill it down.
Exactly. And today we're doing a really critical, very personal deep dive. We're looking at emotional, psychological recovery after major upheaval or conflict.
That's right. And we're not getting into the geopolitics or the big picture external stuff.
No.
We're diving deep into the internal landscape.
hmm
We've got excerpts from a mental health program, Healing Voices, focusing on those internal scars that often get missed when the world outside is chaotic.
And what's great about this source, I think, is how universal it feels.
Mm.
The mission for you listening is to come away with simple, immediate tools.
Tools for recovery, for rebuilding that basic sense of safety.
Right. Even if you haven't faced, direct conflict in a war zone, but you're dealing with major trauma or intense stress, big life changes, these techniques really apply across the board.
Yeah, they do. The core challenge the source points out is, well, it's brutal. Crisis just strips away our confidence, our sense of normal, and fundamentally our feeling of safety.
Everything feels precarious.
Exactly. And the body, according to these experts, it doesn't really know the difference between a distant battle and a personal crisis right here.
Yeah.
It stays on alert.
Constantly scanning for danger.
Yeah, like the threat is still right there, trapping us in this readiness state.
Which is just exhausting, paralyzing, really. You've got to silence that internal alarm first, don't you, before anything else can happen?
You do. And what's fascinating here is how this source, it immediately pivots. It sees the wound, acknowledges it, and then, boom, actionable tools.
Right, self-directed tools you can use right away for relief, giving you back some agency.
Yes, agency from the very start. And they start with the physical body, because that's the quickest way to signal safety back to the mind.
Makes sense.
So the very first immediate tool they offer to counter that constant battlefield feeling is conscious breathing.
Okay, breathing. We hear about deep breaths a lot, but this sounds specific.
It is. It's not just take a deep breath. It's a very specific, almost mechanical process designed to kind of rewire things internally.
Okay, let's unpack this technique then. This specific pattern, the 4-6 technique, they call it. Why is that one so important? What's actually happening in the body?
Okay, so the method is really precise.
Hmm.
You inhale slowly, counting 1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay.
Hold this briefly. But the real key, the most critical part, is the slow, extended exhale, letting the breath flow out as you count all the way to 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Longer exhale than inhale.
Exactly. And the reason that works, it's all about the vagus nerve.
Ah, right, the body's internal communication highway.
Pretty much, yeah. It's the main player in your parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest system.
Okay.
By deliberately slowing down and extending that exhale, making it longer than the inhale, you are physically stimulating that vagus nerve.
You're sending a direct signal.
A direct physical signal to your brain that basically says, okay, stand down, emergency's over.
So it's less a suggestion and more like a physiological command. You can't really stay in full panic if you're doing that long, slow exhale properly.
It's physically very
Yeah.
difficult, yeah. It forces a shift. And the goal isn't to do this for like 20 minutes straight. Just repeat the cycle maybe 3 times,
times.
then pause. And just notice your body starting to relax, even a little. It's this deliberate, self-started action that becomes the very first signal of safety you create for yourself, no matter what's happening outside.
It's like reclaiming one little bit of control.
Exactly. The ultimate self-soothing act. It confirms, okay, I am in charge of this moment right now.
That physical grounding feels so vital when everything else feels like it's drifting away. But okay, the body feels a bit calmer. What about when the past rushes back in? Those images, the painful memories looping, pulling you right back there.
Right, that's the next big challenge. And that's where we shift from anchoring the body to anchoring the mind. The source introduces grounding.
Grounding, okay.
It's a method to interrupt those overwhelming memory loops. A structured, sensory-based routine. It's designed to force your awareness back into the physical reality of right now.
I think I know this one, the 5-4-3-2-1 method. It seems brilliant because it makes you stop just reacting and forces you to observe.
That's the one.
But I imagine if someone's in real distress, just going through that sensory checklist must feel incredibly hard.
It is hard.
Yeah.
Which is precisely why the structure is so helpful. It's like a checklist designed to almost overload your present moment awareness with verifiable facts.
Okay, walk us through it.
So first, you look around and consciously name 5 specific things you can see. Anything. A lamp, a crack in the wall, a tree outside.
5 things. Okay.
Second, touch and really focus on 4 things near you. Feel the texture. Your sleeve, a smooth table, maybe the rough ground under your feet.
Engaging touch. Got it.
Exactly. Third, identify 3 distinct sounds. Listen carefully. Maybe it's just the fridge humming or traffic or birdsong way off.
3 sounds.
Fourth, notice 2 distinct smells. Could be faint, like dust, or maybe coffee, or just the air itself.
Few smells. Okay.
And finally, identify 1 thing you can taste. Maybe take a sip of water, or just recall a strong taste, like mint or lemon.
1 taste. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, but let me push back a little, play devil's advocate.
Sure.
The source created these tools for people in extreme situations, right? What if the 5 things you see are still part of a really stressful or chaotic scene? How does just naming them help then?
That's a really important question, and the source is clear. The goal isn't to like what you see or feel or hear.
Ah,
The goal is simply to observe and name it. The power comes from the process itself. Your brain, it seems, can't fully process a huge volume of real-time sensory input and maintain a deep, intrusive, traumatic memory loop at the exact same time.
so you're using sensory input to create a kind of cognitive traffic jam.
That's a good way to put it, yeah. You're forcing your mind to focus on the provable facts of now, even if those facts aren't pleasant. And that act breaks the automatic link between some trigger in the present and the overwhelming pain of the past.
Okay, that makes sense. It's like a structured way of saying, I am here right now, observing this reality, not lost in that memory.
Exactly. And each time you complete the routine, it strengthens that awareness. It's an immediate disruptive tool. It forces you back to the here and now, which is, by definition, different from the traumatic past.
Okay, so we have breathing for the body, grounding for the mind's loops. Now, here's why I thought it got really interesting. Moving from self-regulation to, well, other people, connection.
Yes.
The source points out that when we're in deep pain, the instinct is often protective, right? To withdraw, isolate.
It's a common trauma response. Conserving energy, maybe. Feeling unsafe to connect.
But they argue that connection, actually reaching out, is the real path to sustained healing, not just immediate relief.
Absolutely. Isolation feeds the trauma cycle. Connection disrupts it. It signals that, communal safety might be available. The source really highlights using your support systems, family, friends, maybe specific support groups.
But the thought of just, laying out this huge, heavy trauma for someone that can feel overwhelming, maybe even risky, when you're already feeling fragile.
Totally understandable. And that's why the source makes the first step really manageable. They emphasize that the crucial initial step isn't telling the whole story.
Oh,
It's just initiating contact, saying something simple, something true, like, I'm really tired today, or could you just sit with me for a bit?
not the whole narrative dump, just breaking the isolation seal.
Precisely. You just need to make that first move that says, I'm not totally alone in this.
That's a much more compassionate, doable first step. And speaking of connection, the source also tackles professional help head on. The stigma that can still cling to therapy or counseling.
Yeah, they reframe it completely. They explicitly call seeking counseling or expert mental health support an act of profound courage.
Not weakness, courage.
Not weakness, not failure. Courage. They argue it's fundamentally a declaration that you are investing in your own future well-being. It shifts you from feeling like a passive victim of what happened to becoming an active participant and architect in your own recovery.
Yeah.
Saying, this is too big to carry alone, and I'm brave enough to get skilled help.
That is such a crucial reframing. Really important for listeners to hear that. Okay, shifting slightly. You don't need some grand, heroic gesture to start rebuilding. The source also talks about the power of really small, everyday habits. Routines.
Yes, absolutely. When your whole world, your sense of normal has been shattered, you can't just instantly put it back together.
Yeah.
You rebuild it slowly, piece by piece. And these small, predictable routines, they call them stabilizing bridge activities.
Bridge activities, like they carry you over.
Exactly. They carry you across the gap from chaos back towards routine and maybe even meaning. They become these little predictable successes each day that confirm life can still have some structure, even a tiny bit.
What kinds of examples did they give? What are these bridges made of?
Well, really simple things, actually, like sipping tea and consciously noticing the morning light coming in. Just being present with that simple act. Or writing down feelings. Journaling. Doesn't have to be poetry, just getting it out. Even bullet points of frustration or sadness.
Right. Or caring for something.
Yes, caring for plants, maybe some simple gardening if possible. something living that depends on you in a small way.
And just getting outside.
Yeah, even just stepping outside to breathe the air for a few minutes. These aren't magic cures on their own,
No, of course not.
but they act like little anchors. They confirm your body can still follow a small routine, that the world outside still has simple things in it. They help create these tiny pockets of safety and predictability that belong just to you. Helps the heart rest a bit.
Okay, this feels like the most crucial message, maybe, especially about time and being kind to yourself. Anyone who's gone through something major knows this. The pressure to just get better, to heal in a straight line upwards,
Right.
the source is really clear. Recovery just doesn't work like that. It's not linear.
No, not at all. They talk quite beautifully, actually, about the reality of setbacks. That pressure to be better now is huge, both internal and sometimes external. But the mind, the body, they have to process the scale of what happened.
Which takes time.
Yeah.
And isn't smooth.
Exactly. You will inevitably have strong days, days where you feel hopeful, like you're making real progress.
Yeah.
And then you'll have days that feel like you slid all the way back down, like you're starting over from square one.
And that feeling, that back to square one feeling, must just fuel intense self-criticism. Why aren't I better yet?
It absolutely does. But the source really insists this is not failure.
Yeah.
It's just the normal, messy, nonlinear reality of deep recovery.
So how should we think about it then?
Maybe think of it less like a straight line and more like a spiral staircase.
Oh, interesting analogy.
You might revisit the same themes, the same difficult emotions, maybe even the same depth of feeling. But each time you circle back around, you're actually approaching it from a slightly higher vantage point.
Because you've learned something from the last time.
Exactly. You've already integrated some lessons, some coping mechanisms from the previous cycle. That is progress, even when it feels like going backwards.
So the absolute key advice here is radical self-forgiveness, self-compassion.
Without a doubt. The final piece of emotional advice is to actively fight against judging yourself harshly. The very fact that you're struggling is proof you're engaged in the work.
The struggle itself is evidence of effort.
Yes, you have to give yourself time. You have to practice active self-compassion for how incredibly hard this task is. You're not failing. You're just still doing the profound, exhausting work of healing and rebuilding.
That reframing struggle as proof of effort, that's a powerful tool right there. And the source, it kind of brings us full circle, doesn't it? Leaving us with a closing ritual, back to the body again.
Yeah, completes the cycle of self-care we started with. A conscious inhale, thinking of it as receiving life energy, maybe strength, and then a conscious exhale, letting go, releasing the fear, the tension that still lingers.
Inhale life, exhale fear. Simple, powerful. So pulling this all together, what does this really mean for you, the listener?
Well, to summarize these really potent insights, recovery, it starts with you creating immediate personal signals of safety. That's the focused breathing, the 4-6 technique hitting the vagus nerve,
Right.
and the sensory grounding, that 5-4-3-2-1 method to pull you back to now.
Okay, body and mind anchors first.
Then it relies on finding the courage to connect, even in small ways first. And remembering that seeking help, professional help, is a fundamental act of self-investment. It's strength.
Not weakness.
And this whole tough process, it's sustained by weaving in those small, predictable grounding routines, those bridge activities that rebuild your sense of normalcy bit by bit.
And the source leaves us with such an empowering final thought, doesn't it? That simply being here, still present, the fact that your heart is still beating, your mind is still working through this, that itself is undeniable proof.
Proof that you are much stronger than you think.
Yeah. So maybe consider right now which of those immediate safety tools, that 4-6 breath pattern or the 5-4-3-2-1 grounding, which one could you maybe try, integrate into your life, even just once today, as a way to prove your own incredible inner strength? Thank you for diving deep with us today.